Sea of Thieves, a game where we can all live out our pirate fantasies together on one shared open world. Now I understand, things in the team seem to be a little rough right now with the announcement of Season 10. Now despite all this backlash, I think that the seas are still a place to be able to have fun and be able to enjoy yourself. So the crew and I came up with an idea. We're going to do a island survival challenge and just see how long we can last. We have to flag down a ship and try not to get caught dead in the process. This is a little experiment, because despite all of the problems that Sea of Thieves is having right now with all of its noticeable bugs, yeah, that's not supposed to happen. All bugs aside, I think it's important to remember that we need to treat the game like a game and not a grind. So, I hope you're ready to join me on this marooned on an island challenge thing. Being as the first time we've ever done this challenge, we had to think, well, in order to do this, we have to be able to look the part as well. So, after a quick wardrobe change, we got ready to play our part. We figured Cannon Cove would be good as place as any since it's a relatively high traffic island, so we set the ship off and the isolation began.
You're in the immersion, man! 16 times the small children.
Little side note here, I actually got black screen when I jumped between this ore and this rock, so I had to get rowed back to the island.
I love my pork cooking.
No! Use your big lips. Anyway, we're back! Fire's still lit! Nothing changed! Nothing happened! Absolutely nothing happened!
Already off to a rocky start. We're already burning provisions that we need to hold on to, and we need to conserve it as much as we can, depending on how long we end up staying on this island.
So, I propose some fish. Can you guys give me some fish? Oh,
crap.
No.
Monsters!
And as simple as Sea of Thieves survival mode actually sounds, it's going to be far from it dealing with these guys.
Would you like, do you want to take a selfie with me?
Sure, why not? So after a little bit of portrait taking, I ended up deciding to kick back and relax on the beach while everyone else decided to do their own thing, and then Frank started making an economic system.
Oh yeah, hold on, let me just, there we go. Ooh, that's a bit of a bad trade, I'm not sure about that. How about your battles, the coconut? Deal? That's right. The economy at work.
You never read Lord of the Flies?
Dogs.
Now, despite how questionable that trade actually was, it is good to know that Frank was at the very least thinking ahead in the long term if we were to get stuck on that island longer than we expected. So after tending to our camp, we had a couple of locals decide to stop by, and I gave them a good old piratical welcome. All the while, Blue was making some pretty decent progress in fishing, but Frank was still working on the economic system. He was pretty hell-bent, and he was walking around with his chest for the next hour. As dawn slowly started creeping below the horizon, I decided to go ahead and scour for any possible sails that would be on the horizon line. But to my avail, there were none. But then again, at the very least, it looked like Clive was making some pretty decent progress on fishing too, pulling back 2 fish, one small and the other one, well, pretty decently sized, I'll give it that much. So as I prepped the camp, there was talk of how on earth we were going to get a ship over to this island, but lo and behold, it looked like the rare gods had smiled upon us for once. Well, there goes that plan. Back to the drawing board. Our spirits remained unwavered as night pressed on. We huddled around the camp in order to set ourselves up for the night. Early in the morning, though, we did have a couple of visitors decide to pop up and say hello. How on earth do we get off this godforsaken spit of land? I thought to myself. Kegless and utterly out of options, I then spent most of my day practicing my waving abilities, trying to flag down any spotting ships, and the only thing I really flagged down was this little right here. Skellies are one thing, phantoms are another, but these ocean crawlers were breathing a pain in my side. Night crept on us sooner than we expected as the pale blue moonlight illuminated the island. We had no way to get any ship's attention, I thought to myself. Things were looking pretty hopeless. We had no way to get ship's attentions, no way to get them over here. Speaking trumpets would work, but they only work at a distance. But then... Alas, finally a keg. I then put it over with our collection of, well, one, and decided to scour the horizon line one last time before turning in for the night. Are those lights? Oh, thank God, a ship, finally! That keg came with us in the nick of time. I quickly grabbed it and ran over to the side of the island, and we had to get their attention as soon as possible. They were getting closer with every pressing moment. We could see them, they were heading right in our direction. The flames of vengeance would be our savior. I had to adjust the keg accordingly where it was located, that way to be able to both see it and hear it very, very clearly. Frank, already driven mad by the isolation, couldn't handle it anymore and ended up leaving us all too soon, but that wouldn't stop me. I had to light the keg. It was now or never. They're not stopping. They were within earshot. They had to be. I shouted and screamed and begged and pleaded that they would come over to rescue us, but to no avail. They just kept on sailing. Further and further along the horizon line. I made one last desperate attempt and shouted for them, telling them that we had loot, we had siren gems. But alas, it was all for naught. As the brig sailed on, so did the sun, and it was already day 3. The crew's morale was definitely ticking away. I could see that they were definitely in a pit of despair after seeing what happened with that last ship. I kept scouring the horizon line, praying and hoping that I could see any form of sails on the horizon. What sort of captain would I be if I couldn't get my crew off this godforsaken spit of land? We had to get out of here. Clive was definitely spending more time by himself. I worried for him in his mental state. We had to stick together. We had to hold on to what little sanity we had left. I tried speaking with him, talking things over and trying to boost his morale. He seemed okay, at least around me, but when around Blue, well... Oh gosh, this isn't good. Already we're turning on each other. Clive was obviously not in a good state. We let him dry out on the dock after jumping in the water to put the fire out. He was becoming a loose cannon, a risk to our livelihood here on this island. I don't know what I could do. I can't kill him. What kind of captain would do such a thing? Not me. I gotta hold on to him and help him out as long as I can. But it seemed he had already made up his mind. The isolation had gotten to him, corrupted his mind, and then... Crewmate Clive. Now with 2 of my crewmates gone, I don't know what I could do. As far as I knew, Clive now spent his time in isolation, playing his banjo off into the sunset. As his mentality slipped away, so did his worries about getting off this island. First off, I just want to say thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. I had a lot of fun making it with my friends. I've been wanting to make a Sea of Thieves YouTube channel for the very longest time, and I finally found the time and the effort to be able to put some time and, well, effort into it. I've always loved this game, and a small part of it has always been with me ever since I first saw that announcement trailer for the game. Anyways, part 2 is in the works. I'm thinking about posting every weekend, if not every other weekend. My schedule's a little tight, but we'll see how it goes from there. Personally, I feel like there's a huge silent majority part of the community that lies between the PvP and PvE side of things that just want to play, goof around, and enjoy the game for what it is. So I'm trying to make a channel and cater to that community since I hadn't really seen one that's specifically making content for it. Anyway, I think that'll do it. This video's drug on long enough. I hope you consider liking and subscribing, as it'll do me a lot to help boost my morale and be able to post more videos. I've been Captain Classic, and I bid thee farewell.